All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're watching from. Okay. So this is finally the video about forms that I've been promising for a long time. Okay. So this is finally the video, and really my goal for this video, this particular exercise or this particular class, is that it is not just to be doing fancy stuff, like doing plenty fancy stuff. No, I really want to teach you how forms work. Okay. Once you learn how forms actually really work, then you can go off and do whatever fancy thing that you want to do. Hope that makes sense. So we are focusing more on the nitty-gritties, the main things that have to do with form. Then you can now go off and do whatever you want to do. Okay, so that's your own. That's for you to figure out. All right. So I'll show you how it works, and then show you some of the things that, for some of you that program or that write HTML, these HTML boys that you've advising, they will not agree and hear advice. But some of you guys, there are some things I'll show you that are very useless. All right, but I'll show it to you, and you'll not see that okay, they're not actually as useful as you think they are, and it's all going to happen in this video. All right, so enough talking, and let's get into it. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm going to be switching off my camera so that you can have access to my display. Okay, so I'm just gonna switch this off, and then let's go to our Visual Studio Code. Okay, and yes, in this course or in this particular class, of course, we are going to use AI, all right, to generate some things. There are some things I've forgotten, but we are still going to use AI to generate them. But the main thing that we want to look at, we'll see it. Okay, the main things we are going to look at, we're going to see them, all right. So let me quickly just close this down since I'm no longer using it. All right. Okay, hope you're all good, yeah? Okay. So in our Visual Studio Code, now for those of you that are going to be using Stack Blitz, okay, you can always come here and then come to Stack Blitz, okay, Stack Blitz, all right, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You click enter, and then you can go to pure HTML /CSS JavaScript. All right, and you can always follow along. You can always follow along from here. It works just the same way our browser works. Okay, you might have to create an account. Don't worry, it is free. Okay, it is free. All right, it is a free store, so you can sign in so that you'll be able to save whatever you've done. Okay, you can come here, and this is index.html. This is your page 2.html. Then this is for your JavaScript, and this is for your CSS. For now, we're just going to be focusing on HTML and CSS, so we don't really need the JavaScript for now. Okay. Okay, so we can preview. All right, and you can see this is your home page, this is your other page. That was that index2.html. You can also preview both if you want. You can rotate your phone and it will look like this, right? So it makes sense, Abi. Makes sense, right? All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into the video. Let's get into the learning rather. Okay, I'm just gonna come off here. So you can, whatever we are writing, you can replicate it here. Okay, and as I was saying, you're expected to have at least try and buy an external keyboard. Okay, enough talking and some doing. Okay, so let's come back to our Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to go to File. Okay, I'm going to go to File, go to Open Folder, and I'm going to try to create my own folder. Okay, where I want to store my files, and maybe I'll call it form. I think I already have a form. Do I? Okay, I don't. I'm just going to create a new dish, and I'll call it form. I'm going to call it form, and then I can now select this folder called form, and it's going to open up, and I can close down codex for now. I want to thoroughly explain some things. Okay, and I'm going to have index.html and also styles.css. I may not, maybe depending, I might decide to style a bit, but the main thing here is the foundation, what really form does. Okay, that's the main thing that I want to focus on. Then I will show you, of course, how to style, and you can also use AI to style. So we are good. So you bring your boilerplates, okay, and then you can change this to learning forms. All right. Now, what exactly are forms? As I was explaining before, forms, okay, just like in the real world, yeah, you can go to an organization, and when they want to get details about you, what is your name, right? What is your local government area? Where were you born? And so on and so forth. So what is your age? They give you a form to fill, right? Now, when you fill that form, what has happened? It has collected your information. If that makes sense. It has collected your information. And of course, they are going to move that information and save it somewhere that they can use later. Does that make sense? So they can take that form, right, and then they are going to take it and then, of course, save it somewhere, right, push it somewhere, okay. So that's what basically forms are. They're just used to gather information. So what are the syntax, or how do we actually create these forms? We start off by writing form, and you can now press enter, okay. You can now press what? Enter. Now you're going to be seeing something. You're going to see something called action. Now, what does this action do? Action would ask, where do you want me to take this form to? So what action do you want me to carry out with this form that you have written? Where do you want me to take it to? That is an action, right? Yes. So it's asking, where do you want me to take it to? And for now, because we do not have where we are going to take it to, you can either delete it or maybe just add a hash. All right. Or you could delete it for now because we don't really have where we want to send it to. Okay. Now, inside there, we can decide to collect the user's inputs. Okay, we can decide to what? Collect users' inputs. So remember, we are collecting users' inputs. So we are going to be using a HTML tag called inputs. Okay, and once you write inputs, you're going to be seeing type of text. All right, let's save this. Go back to our code and let's go to revealing file explorer. Go to index.html, and you can already see that you have some sort of box here, right? And in this box, you can actually write stuff, and those stuff will come up, right? All right. Now, right now, it does not really make any sense, right? It does not really make any sense because we are just having input and then type of text. And remember that this type is an attribute, right? This attribute is just telling us what kind of input this thing is going to receive. Because remember, input is going to receive some sort of information or some sort of data. It's going to receive some sort of data, or the user is going to impute some sort of data into it. Now it's telling you that the type of data is looking for right now is text. So just like data types that we've been looking at. All right, the type of the data right now is text. Are we following? Now that is what's it called now? That is its attributes. Okay. Now, if you give space, it also takes up some other attributes. Okay, some other attributes, right? Because right now we just have an empty box that literally just does nothing. We don't really know what this is supposed to do. Okay, so what we can do is we can either, all right, come here and maybe write something like first name. Don't worry, just follow me. I'm coming. Okay, first name. And then I save, I go back and I refresh. You can see first name right here. So let's assume that what you wanted was the first name. All right. But right now it's not really making sense because this first name is just text that is not really inside anywhere. All right. So it's just text. And to some extent, that's though this would work as of right now, is the user is not going to find any difference, right? But we want this to, you can either put it inside the P, all right, and it's still going to work perfectly, all right. It's still going to work perfectly, but the only difference now is that P is going to act like what? It's going to act like a P. It's going to act like a P. It is what is it called now? A block element. It's a block element, so you're going to take up all this thing that you're seeing, all this space is going to take it up, right? So what we can equally do is we can come here and let's link our CSS. Now I want you to know there is no one way of doing this. There is actually no one way of doing this. So you can do it with multiple ways. Multiple ways. So we can come here. So whatever way you've learned, or if you've learned any other way, it's still viable. All right. These are not the main thing, but I just wanted to putting this is not the main thing. All right, but I just want us to have some sort of cohesion as we are working. Okay, so we can come here and say that form that has a p inside. Okay, that p we want it to be what display what inline. Okay, display inline. We save all. We go back, we refresh, and now they are now inline. All right, so whatever p that we write inside this form is going to be inline. Does that make sense? Okay, now we can now come here and put in our okay. Well, trust me, these are not the main things. Okay, now we now have this input type text. Now this is not the only thing in it. Okay, this is not the only thing in it, because right now it knows that it is the type of text, but it actually does not know what information that it is receiving. Following, it actually does not know what, like, it knows that it's going to receive a data that's a text, but it does not really have access to the. Remember, this guy is inside PO, this guy is input, this guy here does not have access to this guy, so he does not know what he's actually collecting. Does not know whether he's collecting name, doesn't know whether he's collecting age, doesn't know whether he's collecting my matric number. He does not know what he's collecting right now. So we need to tell it what it is collecting, the name of what it is collecting. Are you following? The name of what it is collecting. So we can come here and we can give it another attribute called name, and we can now give it first name. Now for this place, you can write whatever. You can decide to write it in full. You can decide to come here and write FN. All right, as long as you and your crew, the people that are working with, know that FN means first name. All right, that's okay. But just for the sake of simplicity and for the sake of clarity, let's just write the complete first name. So now, all right, now he now knows what it is. He now knows what it is collecting. He now knows that it's collecting first name. Okay. All right. So that is it for input. Okay, that's not it for input, but let's get a button. Okay, let's get a button, and we are going to write here submit me. So we need a button that we can, when we click it, it's going to submit this form for us. Okay, or we can just name it submit. And inside this button equally takes it equally takes its own type. It needs to know what type of button is it. Is it a button that's going to submit? Is it a button? Is it a button? What is it going to be doing? All right. So this is once you type this type, you're going to be seeing button reset submit, and I'm going to show you what they do in a jiffy. But let's just click submit because we want it to submit our form, right? And right now, this guy is not actually going anywhere. All right, now action, remember what action says. Action says, where am I taking it to? Okay, where am I taking it to? And right now we do not have a back end, so it actually does not have where it's going to take it to. Okay, so it has action, and it also has something called a method. All right, so action is where am I taking it to, method is how am I going to take it there. All right, you can think of you can think of it that way. It is not exactly like that, but you can actually think of it that way. So how am I going to get this information to where it is going? All right, now we have two methods, post and get. Right now we are going to be using get. All right, because we are not actually pushing this in anywhere, so we kind of want to get back the information that we've put inside here, or in other words, we want to see in our browser, we want to see our browser try to push this thing. All right, we're going to try to we're going to see our browser, how our browser actually pushes this thing if we use get. But post is used when we actually have where we are sending this thing to, where we want it to post, where we are posting it. Okay, although normally in Java in backend, all right, get is used when you want to get something from a server. You want to get some sort of information from a server. All right, while post is used to push information to a server. Right now, we do not have any server that we are pushing this into, or any backend infrastructure that we are pushing it to. So we are just going to use get, so that it will be like the thing is getting itself. Don't worry, you're going to see it and it's going to make sense. Okay, so once you say method get, all right, method is what gets. We can now save Okay, we can come back to our this thing, we can refresh, and you see that submit is just next to our box. That's fine. So I'm going to put in David and I'm going to submit. And I want you to pay attention to this top place. All right, you see that it is literally getting back what you've given to it. It's getting back first name is equal to David. So now it's getting back the name of what we've submitted. All right, so remember when I was telling you that you needed to know what is submitting, the name of what is submitting, and the value that is submitted. Now that leads us to the next thing that we're going to look at. It's called value. Okay, and right now, if we use value here, let's use something like let's use value of John. I hope this is the spelling of John, yes. And we save. Okay, let me increase my this, and I was not even sure if we are seeing it. Sorry. So let me save, go back, refresh. You will now see that because I've given it a value, it's going to automatically add that value here. Okay, and if you submit, it's going to change my my David to John. Are we following? It's going to change what David to John. So value is more of like the value. What exactly are we sending? So you can see that that thing that it was showing here was actually value. All right, it was actually what value that it was changed. It was showing. So the name of what we are sending and then the value that it is holding. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So for now, value in for now is I want to be careful with this and I'm saying, but it is not very necessary right now. Okay, but once you enter React, value becomes very, very, very necessary. But for now, it is not so necessary. Okay, because our browser automatically handles it for us. DOM would also automatically handle it for us. So it's not so necessary right now. Okay, so you can actually come up value. All right, because it is not so necessary, but I just want you to know that there's something called value. And let me just leave it there. Let me just leave it there. All right, but I just want you to know that there's something called value. Oh, no, I'm going to remove it. There's something called value so that in your React, when you get to React, you're already familiar with value. But for now, it's not so necessary for now. But in React, it is extremely necessary, and we're going to handle React soon. So I just wanted you to know that. Now, right now, let's refresh. I've not saved. Okay, let me save. Now, right now, we can see that first name, then box here, and then there's submit, right? This is not how forms usually look, right? Button would usually be at the bottom, right? So we can come here, and I'm going to show you a tag. It's called BR. Now, BR means break, all right? So it means that instead of if that there were two inline elements, okay, if there were two inline elements, remember that this guy converted it to an inline bar. This guy is also an inline. Now, if there was also another inline, which is bottom is also an inline, it's going to push wherever you put this BR, it's going to push whatever that comes after it to the down. It's going to push it down. Okay, so if we save and go back and refresh, you can see that my submit has come down. All right, and if you add a BR for the second time, okay, if you add a BR for the second time, save, go back, you can see that it adds extra space. So BR is quite a neat trick. Okay, it's quite what? A neat trick. All right, so we've collected first name. Now let's look at. All right, let's look at the next one. We are going to be collecting. Let's collect last name. Okay, and same thing again. We can get this and paste him here. Okay. Now remember when I said that value was not so important. It is for type of text too. Alright, it's good to make that distinction now. Please, it's for type of text. It's actually very important. It's for type of when we have type of text, it's not so important. So I forgot to make that distinction. Okay, so this last name, so we can change this to last name. Okay, we save, we go back, I refresh, and we can now say last name, and we can come here and put another BR. Okay, and then we can see our last name. So because they are together, we can decide to add two BRs. Does not really matter like that. Or you can decide to put, that would be overkill. I wanted to say put them inside divs, but that would be an overkill. So we refresh, and then yeah, kind of looks nice, right? Okay, all right. Now the next thing we are going to look at is something called, all right, it's something called radio. All right, or radio buttons, or radio. Let's just leave it at radio. Okay, now remember I said I just want to teach you exactly how forms work. Styling it is not a problem. Okay, we have AI now, so styling it is not really a problem. But anyway, let's refresh this, and then let's put in a first name, David, and also a last name, let's say Nixo. Okay, and if we submit, you can see that first name is equal to David and last name is equal to Nixo. Now I know that you must have noticed with some forms. Let me go to incognito. All right, let me go to incognito, and I will search for Facebook. Now if you go to Facebook, now you can see stuff like this, right? Oh, look at it, it's so nice. If you click on it, yeah. Anyway, it's quite easy to do too. Come on, why this thing they bring my number now? Come on here. Okay, so you have right here, but this is, you can see that there's actually a text inside there, right? There is a text inside there. There's also a text inside there, right? So what you can do, what you can do to make that text come up is you can go to your inputs, okay? Come straight to here, and you are going to look at another attribute, and it's called placeholder. Okay, it's called what? Placeholder. Now placeholder puts a text there that can be there as it is there, but it's not actually real text, but it can give instructions to the user and stuff like that. So we can have something like first name. Okay, let me warp this. Let me make it view word wrap. Let me wrap it. Okay, so we can have first name. Okay, and here too we can also have placeholder of last name. All right, so you can see just that, and sometimes you would see something like John Doe. All right, so you can see something like, I really don't know this. Okay, this should be the spelling of John. So John Doe. All right, sometimes you see this, especially when you are doing projects, when you are just doing your personal projects, you see this a lot. All right, so John Doe. Now don't ask me who John Doe is. I don't know. But let's check him out. Let's see who John Doe is. I know this is not part of my class, but I think he's an actor. Who is John Doe? Yeah, I think he's an actor. It's a fake name used in the United States when a person's real name is unknown or needs to be kept a secret. It's also used in court cases, blah, 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 blah. I was thinking it was an actor. Okay, so back to what we are doing. All right. Now, the next thing I said we were going to look at is something called radio. Okay, radio. So the same way that we did our previous lesson, let's say that we wanted to choose between male and female. All right, let's say we wanted to choose between male and female. Now, to choose between male and female, you can just click two buttons, right? Or one button, and one button will be able to choose between male and female. Now, if I come here and I say input, all right, and instead of saying type of text, I'm going to say radio. Are we following? I'm going to say radio. Okay, and if I save right now and I go back and I refresh, you're going to see this clickable button or this clickable stuff. All right, and you might have seen it before. Okay, now if I say type, if I say radio, it's going to bring that up, and I'm going to write my yeah. Okay, now here we can now come here and say P. All right, male. All right, P what? Male. Right, we can come here and do something. We can come here, say h4, and give it what's it called now? Gender. Okay. Whatever. Let me change this. All right, I'm just going to say gender, and I'm gonna have some br here again. Searching. Okay, so gender. So now we have male, and we can equally. Now we usually have them together. Okay, we usually have them together. So we can also have P and have female. And then inside there, we can equally have inputs and it's already bringing name and this thing. We don't really want that. We're going to add it ourselves. Okay. Input, and we're going to say radio again. All right. And let's save and go back. Now you can see gender. All right. So you can see gender, and we are seeing male and female. Let me add one more BR here. All right. So male and female. Now, if I come here and I say David, next, so I want it to be next, so, and then I say something like male. Okay, and I submit. Now, nothing will really happen. We're just going to see first name is equal to David and last name is equal to Nixo. Because right now, this guy also does not have a name. He has no name, so he does not actually know what it is submitting. Do you get? So there's actually nothing to put in there. It doesn't know what it's submitting. Okay. So let's come here and we're going to give it some name. All right. So we're going to say name. And we're going to give it gender so that we know what we're looking at. So we know what we're receiving. Okay. You can also come here and say name of gender so that we know, so that it knows exactly what's actually sending. The importance of this is that when you, the developer, when it's coming in, you need to know that, okay, his first name that this is, his second, his last name that this thing is, it is age that this thing is, all right? So that's the work of that name. All right, so name is very, very important. So if I save and I go back and I refresh, let's say I click on just mail and I submit, you can now see, okay, hold on, let me make this, for David, I don't really care like this. And I say female. Now see what's going on. You can see that first name is David and last name is David because that was what we submitted. And then gender is now equal to what? On. What is equal to on? Now, no, it's not that male is on and female is off. That's not what it means. Okay, we can actually test that out. It does not mean that male is off and female is on. Now, what it means, you see that it says the same thing. What it means is that we actually clicked one of these buttons. Are you following? We actually clicked one of these buttons, but it's not actually working as of right now. Like it does not know what value this button is holding. Are you following? It does not actually know what value the button is holding. It just know that this button has the name of gender. All right, this is what we're expecting, gender. But it does not actually know the value of that gender. So this is where that keyword value now comes in and becomes very important. Okay, so we'll come back here and we go to our these guys, but I can even move this guy down here. Okay, and I can now come here and now say value, all right, is equal to, I can now say male. Now for this one we can now just use M or M for male and value F. Let's just complete it so that we know what we're looking at. But as our world is changing and people are getting woke, it's not only a male and female that we have now. We also have something called others. All right. So now you can just come here and add your own order. Can I say what? Others. Okay, I know this is not very funny, but you get the points. Okay, so So we can come here and have our orders, and then here we can have our input of text or radio without battery, name of gender, all right, and then value of orders. Okay, so we save and we go back and oh sorry, ooh, I was not supposed to put this. Okay, so maybe we should put the spaces here. All right, so now if I click David, and I click on mail, and I hit submit, you can now see that oh, the first name that's coming in is David, the last name is David, and then the gender now is now equal to what? Male. All right, it's now equal to what? Male. Okay, all right, it's now equal to what? Male. And also there's also something I want to point out. Now, if this value we are not here, okay, if this value was not here, there's a very weird thing it does. Okay, let me just show you. There's a very weird thing it does. Now, if I refresh and I click on this, I'll be able to click on all of. Oh, all right. Let me leave it. Let me leave it. It's working right now. I think his name. Yeah, anyway, let me just leave it. But the truth of the matter is that now you can now select anyone that you want, and it is going to work the way it was meant to work. Okay, it's going to work what the way it was meant to work. So that is it for radio input. Okay, for radio input. Now the next one we're going to look at is something called, why am I even doing this? Sorry, it's something called a checkbox. All right, it's something called what? A checkbox. Now checkbox is used when now see checkbox looks almost or behaves almost like our radio button. Okay, it's used to check something. It's used to tick that okay, I'm choosing this thing over something else. Okay, but the difference between checkbox and radio button is that radio button is meant to, or radio input is meant to get just one thing. Okay, just one thing. All right, so radio button, this is meant to get just one thing. Okay, and I'm going to comment it. While for checkbox, you're going to get multiple options. Can be used to get multiple options. Okay, can be used to what? To get multiple options. All right, so that is the difference between radio button and checkbox. All right, I hope that makes sense. So now let's actually implement this checkbox and see how it is. So let's say that maybe we want you to check the programming, the languages that you know. Okay, we are going to streamline. We are going to not just programming languages, but like languages in general. So HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python, blah 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 blah. Let's just see languages that you know. Okay, languages that you know, or maybe we could also do hobby. Maybe the hobbies, the things that you like to do. All right, so same as we've been doing since. Okay, I'm just going to come here and write what are the languages you know. Okay, what are the languages that you know? And from here I can now write a br, okay, and come down here and now say p. Okay, p is what we can write HTML here. Okay, come down here. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. So we can come down here, right? CSS. Come down here, right? JS. Come down here, right? Python. Come down here, right? What else can we write? Maybe C++. C++. C sharp, and the rest of them. Okay, so what are the languages? HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python, C++, C sharp. Now we actually start writing. We actually start taking in our inputs. Okay, what we want, how we want it to look like. So if you write inputs again, you can come to our text and we're going to change it to something called checkbox. All right, something called what? Checkbox. And then of course the name of our checkbox, or let's just yeah, I know that there's a shortcut for this, but I've forgotten the shortcut. I have forgotten the shortcut too. Okay, let me see if I can remember. Oh, let me see. Yeah, they're not actually even. Sorry. Okay, no voila. Let me just copy and paste. Okay, copy and pasting. I've never killed anybody. I was going to copy and paste. And now, just out of the box, if we save and refresh, we can now see what languages do you know. All right, and I'm going to break. Okay, we can now see what languages do you know. All right, so HTML has its own checkbox, CSS has its own checkbox. All right, Python has its own. HTML has its own CSS, JS has its own checkbox, C++ has its own checkbox, and C# has its own checkbox. So, and if we say David, I wish this could really be Nexus, so that it will be David Nexus. All right, and see mail and all these other ones. Now, if we hit submit, you see that it is only bringing what? First name, last name, and gender. Why? Because these guys don't have any name, so there's nothing to there. We don't know what they are holding. We don't know the names that they have, right? So there's nothing for it to add here. It does not have something like gender that you can put here, or maybe languages that you can put and then tell you the value of what languages is holding. Are you following? So name just tells it what is the name of this thing that is receiving. Are you following? So if the name of what it is going to receive is first name, that is the name that's going to be here. If the name of what it's going to receive is age, that's the name is going to be here. If the name of what it's going to receive is colors or favorite color, that's the name is going to be here. All right. So the thing you're looking for, that's the name it's going to, or the thing, how do I put the name of that thing? That's anyway, I hope you get. All right. I hope you get. Please, I really hope you get. Okay. So we're going to come here and give it name. We're going to see that the name here is going to be languages. Okay, name is languages, and for this guy, the value would be what? HTML. So you can just write that small letter. Okay, and I'm just going to copy these two guys. Come here, paste, change this to CSS. Come here, paste, change it to JS. Come here, paste, change this to Python. Come here, paste, change it to C++. And then come here and also paste and change this to C#. Okay, so you can see that the name is, what is this thing actually? What is it? This is language. Name here, what is this thing actually? What is it? It's gender, right? Name here, this one now is not first name and blah 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 blah. So that's actually what name operates as. I hope it makes sense now. So name is going to hold the name of that thing he wants to receive. What is the name? All right. If it is mobile phones you've used, that could be mobile or phones. Do you get? So that's what name does. That's what it just does. Then value is now the value of what name is supposed to have. Okay. All right. So let's save, go back, refresh, and now if I say David Nexo, gender is male. I know HTML, I know CSS, I know JavaScript, and I also know Python. Now, I feel like this thing is supposed to be here. I feel like it's not supposed to be here. It's a bit confusing. So let me move them. Or anyway, maybe let me not leave them. We understand what we are doing, but maybe it's just not looking right to me. So maybe I might move them this way later. So this guy will not be here. This guy will not be here. This guy will not be here. But for now, I'll just leave it that way. As long as we understand what we are doing. When I say CSS, JavaScript, Python, a little bit of C++, but I no longer use C++. So I'm just going to submit. And now, would you look at that? All of a sudden, we now have first name, David, last name, Nixo, gender equals male, languages equal HTML, languages equal CSS, languages equals Python, JS, Python. Okay, so you can select what? Multiple. You can select what? Multiple. Okay, you can select multiple. So that is that for first name. Okay, last name. That's that for radio button and checkbox. Now the next important thing we're going to look at, and then we'll now look at one or two other things, and then we can call it a day. Maybe I'll show you how to just style it with ChatGPT, and we are good to go. All right, there's no more stress. There's no what more stress. Now we have AI, so we can always. I just want you to understand what is happening here. Once you understand it, the styling can never be your problem. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to look at is, sometimes you can have. I can't find a website now, but sometimes you can have website that's going to show you country, or maybe yes, country. Like when you're setting up, it's going to show you country, and then when you click on country, it's now going to show you countries. Oh God, I wish I could really find one. Let me see. Let me go to new incognito, and then I'm going to let me see if HFM has it. I don't want to sign in now. Come on here. It's incognito. So let's see. Register. Let's go to register. Does it have something like that? I'm really praying it does. Yes, this is what I was talking about. Now you can see Nigeria, right? And if you click on this, you can see plenty of ooh. All right, so we are going to be looking at how to do something like this. Okay, it's not as hard as it looks. So this thing here is called select. Okay, it's called what? Select. So if I come here and I write select, you can see that it has name. All right, it has name. All right, maybe I can just get rid of ID for now. It has name. All right, and inside it, remember we are selecting. Right, remember if we click on here, we can now select a country. Right, from these options that it has given to you, you can now select a country. Does that make sense? We have select, and from the options that we have here, you cannot select something that is outside these options. You have to only select things that are inside these options. Does that make sense? You can only select things that are what inside these options. All right, so that's exactly what we put in here. We put in what? Option. Okay, we can put in option. All right, and let's see. Let's have 7 options. Okay, yes, I love that VS Code is now doing this. It did not used to do this before. Now, I want you to pay attention to how VS Code arranges this. You can see that select has name, right? Because remember, name is what you are actually trying to get the data for. All right. So let's say that we are looking for country. What country are you from? Right. So we are whatever you're going to select, all right, whatever option you're going to select would actually be the value. And then the name is the name. Why, like I'm trying to explain why name is inside select and not inside option. All right. At the end of the day, you just need to know that this guy is country. Okay. Now, whatever one you now select now will now be the value of country. So name cannot be inside option. Are you following? Because if name is inside option, what it will now do is that we'll now have to repeat name in all these options. But if you have name here, which is country, whatever value you choose now, it cannot be name is the country is not equal to whatever country you have chosen. I hope that makes sense. All right, I hope that makes sense. So of course, now one of the thing that I've noticed is that see that your first value, that first value should hold the name or should hold the word of what you want the people to select or what you want users to select. All right, you see that for this one, it was automatically showing us Nigeria. Okay, but for some, it's going to show us select country. It's going to show something like this. Okay, so inside this value for this one, or maybe this option, I'm just going to write select country. All right, and if we save and go back, and I'm going to delete this. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to refresh. And I'm going to do some BR shit. All right, sorry. So if we come here and we refresh, you can now see that it's showing us what select country. Okay, so that's why I said that the first option should hold what you actually want the user to do. Although for this one now, this is not actually a bad design. That other one we're looking at is not actually a bad design because it showed, like, once you see Nigeria, you know that okay, this is talking about countries, right? Once you see Nigeria, you should know that this is talking about what country. So it's not actually a bad design. Are we together? So we can come to country. Okay, sorry. We can now come to these other options. Put in Nigeria, of course, is our country. So we're going to put Nigeria. We're going to put, let's say Cameroon. We're going to put Ghana. All right. We're going to put, I just want to use African countries. Kenya. Rwanda, if this is correct. Rwanda. Let's say South Africa. Okay, and if we save and we come back and we refresh, you can now see that it has select country, and our select country is now Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda, and South Africa. So I'm going to come here, select Nigeria. Okay, I'm going to come here, put in David, Nexo, gender is male, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python. Then okay, we've selected Nigeria, right? And then we can now submit. And if can you look at that? If you come right here, you're going to see first name is equal to David, and last name is equal to Nexo, and gender is equal to male, and languages is equal to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python. And then country. Oh, Chim, the country is not showing because we've not given a value. Sorry. Okay, we need to actually put the value in here. All right, so you can come here, put Nigeria, and remember we are the only ones that are going to see this, so you can write it in capital, in small letter. Nobody really cares, but you can write whatever you want here. Nobody really cares. In fact, when you are doing backend, we actually want things to be in small letter. We don't want all this plenty, and as you at least people are doing JavaScript now, you're already seeing how if you misspell something, there's problem. So imagine when you're now having plenty. This one maybe Ghana started with capital letter. This one Kenya started is the E that started with small letter. You know, plenty things. Users can be very funny. Although this one is us that's actually coding this one, but you know some people can be very funny. So we want things to actually be in small letter. a lot of the time. So that's that for that. So if we refresh now and then we run that again, and we say Nixel, and we say mail, and we say what are the HTML? Let's go to choose HTML and CSS, I beg. And then I choose Nigeria, and then I press submit. Now we can now see languages, and our country is what? The Great Nigeria. All right. So these are basically the most important. All right. Remember, I told you people I only teach you the most important concepts. All right. Every other thing can, every other thing can. You can learn any other thing, but you just need to understand how name, values, what select does, what options does, what radio buttons are, what checkboxes, what inputs are. Okay, you just need to know what those things are, and trust me, you would be good. Okay, you just need to understand how it's actually working. Now, I'm also going to show you some other things that these particular things I really believe that they are useless. Okay, but maybe as a front end guy, you just want something there. I understand. I understand, but to me, they're useless. And people will be like, oh, David, you stupid guy. What are you talking about? But trust me, it actually makes no difference whatsoever. So for somebody that knows what they are doing. Now I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to show you an example of these things I say that I feel like they're useless. You should do them in the back end, not in the front end. But you can also have them in the front end, though, no wahala. But your main authentication, or it should be in the back end, not in the front end. And I'll show you what they are. If I come and I say inputs, all right. Remember, we've looked at type of text, type of button, type of radio, type of checkbox. Now there are also other ones. There's type of email. Okay, and we are going to do similar thing and say p email. All right, and I'm gonna come here and say br, and then I'm going to say type email, and of course our name is going to be what? Email. Okay, and our value, we don't really need the value, we just need a placeholder, and it's going to be what? Email, or inputs. If I just type email, they will understand that's an email. Okay, now see what email does. Okay, see what email does. Now, if I put in anything that's not an email, for example, I put in my name, David, all right, and I hit submit, it's going to tell me, please include an @ in the email address. David is missing an @ so I put in @ all right, and I try again. It's going to say me, it's going to hey God I beg, it's going to say to me that enter a path following @ David @ is incomplete, so I can now put email, or in fact, as long as you just have something here @mail. Let's even say it's @mail or @air. All right, and you click submit. You see it now submits. All right, so it's kind of like a validator. It's validating what you're typing. And as I said before, this should not be in your front end. It can be there, but make sure that whatever you are doing here, you are going to, the validation is actually going to happen in the back end. All right, don't worry, we're getting there. Okay, we're getting there. Now there's also one called, I think there's one called password or something like that. Inputs, is there? Hold on, let's see. All right, so we can see that there are actually plenty of them. There's button, there's button, there's button, there's color, there's date, there's date time, there's date time local, there's email, there's file, there's hidden, there's image, there's a lot of them. There's number, there's months, there's password, there's range, there's reset, there's search, there's submit, there's tell, and blah 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 blah. All right, so let's see. Now things like number, All right, this one too would also have that same effect and tell you that it can only be a number. Okay, you can come here and now say name, number, placeholder. Let's just put the number here. Okay, and I'm gonna have my br. Okay, and I can then save. Okay, go back, refresh, and now if I type anything that's not, you can't even allow me type. I'm trying to type right now, but it's not going to allow me type until I type something that's a number. All right, and okay, it works. How come it worked here? Okay, but once you put e, oh, okay, I get the e now. But you can only take in a number, right? If you try to put in another thing that's not a number, it's not going to work. Now, this is my point. All right, you saw this guy not accepting any other thing, right? And if you hit submit, it will tell you that this is not it, but all right, now let's check out something. I'm going to go to my developer tools. Okay, I'm going to go to my developer to go to more tools, developer tools, and let's test this nigga out. Okay, we're going to come to elements, and then we'll come to body, go to forms. All right, find that guy. Where is he? Yes, email. And we're gonna come here, change this to text. Come here, change this to text. Click enter. Come back here. Do whatever we want. Press submit, and it will submit. And that is how you get hacked. Okay? And that is what? How you get hacked. So it's utterly useless. Okay, so whatever, these are the main things you need to know about forms. Any other thing, you don't really like, I don't want to say that they're not important, but these are just the main things that you need. Okay, every other thing is more or less a waste of time. Okay, these are the main things that you need. And then you can equally, okay, now you can equally just come copy everything you've done. Okay, just go to ChatGPT. Of course, for you people that are my students, you didn't know how to prompt your AI, all right, step by step. But this, I'm just trying to do a quick something and then go to bed. I'm really tired. Okay, so I can just come in here, paste this, and tell it to create a stylish, a stylish, and modern CSS for the form above. Okay, I will click enter, and you see here's a blah 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 blah. All right, and we can just come import copy. All right, come to CSS. I'm just going to, maybe I'm going to leave this guy just in case he does some funny things. Okay, just in case he does some funny things, I'm going to leave him there, and I'm going to save. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that I linked the both of them. Okay, yes, I linked it, star.css, and I'm going to come back to here, and then I'm going to refresh. Bam. All right, so you can go in there, make some changes here, but oh god, I hate this color. Oh my god. So you can come in here, and where's that color? Body, right? Okay, the gradients. Oh, ew. I really don't like this color. But anyway, it just buttresses my points. Okay, we can always go in there. These are gradients. You can change it. I don't know convert gradients, but it's okay. All right. So you can come in here, change it, and you can now see David Nexo. My gender is male. HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I don't know why this is blinking. select country, and I'm going to select Nigeria. And then email, let's go with this one. And then number. And then maybe this number, I'm going to give it a name of H. Okay, I'm going to give it a name of H. So placeholder H, and the name is going to be what? H. And you can save, go back, refresh, and it has changed to H, right? And let's select back Nigeria, David. All right. Oh. Of course, a mail, all right, and then this is no HTML, CSS, Nigeria, email, produce next so at gmail.com, and then I can have my age. Okay, and my age can be, I don't know, 32. Okay, and then I can now submit, and voila, we have them right here. Okay, makes sense, right? Yes. So that is how you do. I really hate this color, but that is how you do that. Okay, that's how you do that. So this is actually the end of forms. All right. Anyway, I hope that was insightful, and this is the end of forms. So I hope you really found value in it. And I know I said I was going to do this all along, but it's finally here. It's finally here. So leave your questions, ask your questions in the group, in the comment section, wherever you feel like asking the question, ask it. All right. I'm here to help. Okay, so cheers and good night, and see you when next I see you in class. Bye.